There were some really funny things in there. We've known this before, that he is obsessed with like teddy bears. He has like 40 teddy bears that have to be assembled and arranged perfectly. Staff are given a chart to arrange Prince Andrew's teddy bears on his bed every day.
Behind the ancient walls of Royal Lodge, far from the smiling photographs and manicured gardens, a very different story was unfolding. It wasn't the fairy tale image the world once believed. It was a house ruled by tension, fear, and control. For years, staff who worked under Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson carried those secrets in silence. But now, with Andrew stripped of his titles, his honors, and soon his home, those stories have taken on a haunting new meaning.
And the terms of the lease say that as long as Prince Andrew maintains the upkeep of the property and the repairs and the renovations, then he is within the terms of the lease, and therefore it is very difficult to remove him.
They reveal what life was really like behind the palace gates, a world where privilege met paranoia, and where the illusion of grace barely hid the chaos beneath. Those who served Andrew paint a picture few could imagine. He wasn't the charming prince of the tabloids, not to them. He was impatient, demanding, volatile. One former maid recalled how staff lived in constant fear of making the smallest mistake, a curtain pulled an inch too far. A breakfast tray slightly misaligned, anything could trigger one of his infamous outbursts.
Yeah, so Tom Quinn's released this really kind of humorous book in a way, talking about, the lives of the staff at the palaces. What is it really like being, a maid or a butler to a member of the royal family? And unsurprisingly, some of the kind of craziest stuff in there was about the staff who worked for the Duke of York.
To them, he wasn't a royal. He was a storm that could strike at any moment. And now, that storm has finally caught up with him. King Charles has formally initiated the process of removing Andrew's remaining privileges, declaring that his younger brother will now be known simply as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. No His Royal Highness, no Duke of York. Just a man stripped of the armor that once protected him. Those who knew him say the signs were always there. A former aide described him as volatile, adding, "You heard him before you saw him."
Prince Andrew is being stripped of his prince title. But why now? Buckingham Palace said the king has today initiated a formal process, and his younger brother will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He gave up his other titles earlier this month, including the Duke of York, after facing questions.
Even his former protection officers noticed the same pattern: the arrogance, the temper, the insistence on control over even the smallest detail. In a world of protocol, Andrew made his own rules that were far stricter than anyone else's. Among the strangest of those rules was his obsession, his almost childlike fixation on his teddy bear collection. According to multiple insiders, Andrew owned more than 70 stuffed toys, all dressed in miniature sailor suits and uniforms. Each morning, palace staff were required to arrange them on his bed in perfect order from largest to smallest, and heaven help the person who misplaced even one. To outsiders it sounded ridiculous, but for the people inside that house it was deadly serious. New employees reportedly underwent training just to learn the precise arrangement. A laminated chart was kept by his bedside, showing the exact position of every bear like a military diagram. One guard said it looked like a battlefield map. Every night, the bears were moved again, placed carefully around the room, even inside the unused fireplace, in a pattern that could never change.
There were some really funny things in there. We've known this before, that he is obsessed with like teddy bears. He has like 40 teddy bears that have to be assembled and arranged perfectly. Staff are given a chart to arrange Prince Andrew's teddy bears on his bed every day.
To the world, Andrew was a prince, but inside those walls he was a man obsessed with control. The house didn't feel like a home, staff said. It felt like a barracks. There were rules for everything: how his clothes were folded, how his shoes were lined up, how his breakfast was served. Even senior palace aides admitted his temper was infamous. Most staff avoided Royal Lodge altogether, preferring to serve almost anyone else in the family. They said the air inside was thick with tension. Everyone walked on eggshells, never knowing which version of him they'd face, the polite one or the man who could explode over a misplaced fork. But Andrew wasn't the only force inside that household. Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, carried her own complexities.
I mean, did you take the money? At one stage you had $40,000 cash sitting in front of you. Did you take it?
Absolutely, yes. And it was given to me and I got it in the car and then returned it straight away.
Once the scandal broke?
As soon as I knew it was a scandal, not once it broke, Michael.
In her early years, staff described her as warm, funny, approachable, the opposite of Andrew's coldness. But as the marriage crumbled and the public turned on her, something changed. Insiders said her warmth could turn sharp without warning. One former aide remembered a day she reduced a staff member to tears over something trivial. She was impulsive, quick to laugh, but just as quick to snap when under pressure. Unlike Diana, who was known for her calm and compassion, Sarah's moods were unpredictable. Yet despite it all, those same insiders said she was often the only person who could calm Andrew when his temper erupted. She could walk into the room and bring him down from a rage.
This is why one of the reasons the Queen loved you so much and you were so special to her. What did she mean to you?
Oh, you know, she just, I think I was just myself with her. And I was allowed to be myself with her, which is such a joy.
One former employee revealed she was the only one he ever listened to. For years, that strange dynamic, two ex-spouses under one roof, became the quiet secret of Royal Lodge. They were no longer husband and wife, yet still bound together by habit, by history, and perhaps by fear of what life looked like apart. To the public, they were the happiest divorced couple in the world, but behind closed doors that happiness was just a mask. Now that facade has finally shattered. With Andrew ordered to vacate Royal Lodge, the life they built together, however fragile, is ending. He will move to a smaller residence on the Sandringham estate, far from Windsor, far from the echoes of the power he once wielded. Sarah Ferguson, however, won't be joining him. After selling her £4 million home earlier this year, she believed she would remain at Royal Lodge indefinitely. But that hope has vanished. With Andrew's lease revoked, she's been told to find a new home. According to one insider, Sarah is quietly devastated. Royal Lodge wasn't just a house, it was her sanctuary, her last tie to royal life. Now, for the first time in nearly 20 years, the former couple will live apart. Two people who once ruled that grand estate, now reduced to strangers on separate paths. And so, the stories of those who served them take on a new weight. They describe a household built on control, not kindness. A palace where status mattered more than respect, where tempers ruled and compassion rarely entered the room. For decades, Andrew and Sarah projected unity, a front carefully crafted for the cameras. But now, the truth stands exposed. The illusion of the world's happiest divorced couple has crumbled. Andrew has lost his titles, his home, his royal image. And Sarah, without her privileges, her security, or her place in that world, faces a future defined by uncertainty. What remains are the stories whispered by those who were there. Stories of a household where laughter was rare, where tension lived in every corner, and where power slowly devoured everything human. Royal Lodge, once a symbol of privilege, now stands as a monument to decline, the downfall of a man who couldn't let go of control, and a woman who couldn't let go of the past. And beyond those crumbling walls, their daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, have quietly stepped away. Royal insiders say both women have distanced themselves entirely from the chaos. Eugenie is believed to be spending long stretches in Portugal, where her husband Jack Brooksbank works in luxury property. Beatrice divides her time between America and Europe, avoiding the glare of the British press. Both, sources claim, are deeply shaken, embarrassed even by their parents' downfall. So what does this all mean for the House of York? It means fracture, silence, distance. Each family member now moving in a different direction, as the legacy their parents once tried to protect begins to collapse in real time. Behind the grandeur and ceremony, life inside the royal household was never truly royal. And the fall of Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, once symbols of charm and modern royalty, is no longer just a scandal. It's a reckoning. A story of ambition, ego, and the quiet collapse of those who thought their power would last forever. Because no matter how polished the image or how strong the facade, every world hides its secrets, and when the truth finally rises, no fame, no fortune, no influence can silence it. In the end, it's a reminder that time exposes everything, and that even the mightiest fall when they forget where they came from. What's built on illusion never stands forever. Sooner or later the mask slips, and the truth writes its own ending.